All right, welcome to D.L. Kramer's Custom Cars and Anything, guys. I'm in the process of setting things up right now. We're videoing, and we gotta plug stuff in, don't we? So anyway, today we're working on the manifolds. So, let's see here. I'll try to get some light here to it. It seems to help out a little bit, I guess, huh? So what we're working on is we're building see once here. Take this out here once. All right, there. Let's get this straight now. We're building these. Okay. These are called log style manifolds, also known as marine manifolds. I'll be putting caps on the end, here. You can look right in there and see the tubes. And then I'll be putting the heat plate right through here, all the way through. So when the exhaust comes out. And then they'll be like, we'll be like center dumping them down, to a 90. So if you can picture that. And so let's get this is the passenger side one. It's just tacked all together. Obviously you can see that there's a lot of work to do there yet. And now we're going to work with the driver's side one. So I'll be right back. Alright, so what I've done, sorry about the camera angle here, this is the best I can come up with. I have to come up with something here at the drill press so the person can see what's going on. Now I've marked, I don't know if you can see that, but I've marked all the ports. I laid this up to the flange, and I'll show you guys that in a bit. And then I marked out the center of the ports where the pipes have to go in here. So let's what am I using for size here? I gotta think here for a second. Let's see. Let's do two at a time here. We'll set this up that way. This old drill thing is getting kind of old here. I got it from my stepfather. Let's see. I actually bought it from him for, I don't know, it was 10, 20 bucks I gave him for it that time. Now you let the thing do the work, A lot of people ram it in there, but no, you gotta just take your time. It's a lot it's doing. Once it breaks through it, usually. No, I'm not letting it do the work. Okay, here we go. See, if you let it do the work, some people just ram it in there and, you know, and that's not the way it should be. I like to sometimes save these circles that I do because sometimes they come in handy for a washer that goes around a pipe or something. Then they got the curve already on them. Also, too, real quick, when I mark these, you know, you can see the lines here that go across. See, I kept them in line, and then I held this up to the ports, and then I just ran across lines from the port, you know. So, oh, excuse me, jeez. Okay, now, and then I try to run them straight up and down here in the drill vise, and then sometimes I just gotta. Okay, here we go again. Oh, here, I didn't move it over far enough though. There we go. There we go. And again, let it do the work for you. That's what it's intended to do. Just take your time. There you go. I'll take your time again. Oh, there we go. So there we go. Huh. So anyway, let's go back to the motor now. All right. So here we are. Here we are at the motor. Now, I'm wondering if I need to shorten these. Now, I made all these little pipes like this, okay? So, yeah, and maybe a guy should angle them back, like this, maybe. But you know what? The stock manifolds are straight in too, and they're more restrictive than this. So this has got to be a little better than manifolds, just got to be. Maybe not as good as complete flow tube headers, but I just can't believe what they get for Mopar stuff. You know what I mean? I mean, they're just, I know, it's crazy. So now what I'll do, I should have, is I'll push these in here, okay? I'll tap them in there with a hammer. And I'll tap them in until the sides here in there, because I don't want them blocking anything. So I'll tap them in there just a little bit more yet. You see that nice fit? See how tight that is? And then you can see the inside there. Hopefully you can see that. I don't know if you can. Because I got to have the camera at such a stupid angle this morning to get a view so you guys can see what I'm doing. So I'll tap them in and I'll show you this. Just using my knee here and a little old body hammer I have. Nice and small hammer so I don't wreck nothing. It's kind of like doing body work on your marine exhaust. Because they make these, and then they inject them with water, marine. These are more or less marine manifolds, I guess you could call them. So they do get warm, so later on I'll wrap them up with header wrap, I'll paint them with high temperature paint. Then I'll go to work and I'll what are we caught there for? Must be a little burr on there. Okay. You see the last two I'm off a little bit. But that won't matter, not that much. When I remounted it in the vise, then I didn't have them consistent, so it's my fault. But then you learn to watch that next time. I believe learning. Let's see, we gotta go a little further in. There we go. Okay. Let's see what's here. Oh, I should have cleaned them out. I see burrs in the end, though. Oh, well. Do I take them apart again? Or what do I do here? Okay. I'll look at this real quick here, guys. I'll be right with you in a second here. Making sure that they're in far enough, they're consistent. So now we got this. Now, I marked it front and back, okay? So now we'll put it on there like that, and there it is. Isn't that cool? Now, next step is, I should clean that shit out of there. Or that stuff, I mean, I'm sorry, I swore. Another $5 in the swear jar. Parts for the car. So now what we'll do is we'll sit and we'll tack all these to this, you know, tack them all here. And then I'm still debating if I'm going to put this in the vise and take a Sawzall and trim these off a little bit to bring this a little closer to the block. Because, God, you know, that might work just the way it is. I don't want to tap these more in the tube because then it's restrictive, you know. I want to keep that flow, you know. A guy could tubing notch all these too, you know, so you wouldn't have no area like that sticking out, which would probably be the best thing. So there's a lot of improvements. And then put them all at an angle yet, and there's all kinds of stuff. But the problem is this will be like a center dump. The bottom pipe will come off of here, somewhere in this area. It's going to go down. These will be capped off. So you can't exactly just... Well, we know we can tack these all on there, so let's get busy. Let's tack them up. And then we may have to trim these. I might have made these a little too long. I might have to trim a little bit off because I'd like to get this a little closer to the block for clearance in the engine bay. This would probably fit right now. But I don't know. I think I'd like to get it just a little closer. So I'm going to probably end up trimming all them off yet. So let's, looks like they're ready to go on the inside here. I'm looking inside. So yeah, so let's tack them together. Okay, let's set that down there. Get the welder going here. There's that. Gas is on. Welder's on. And the wand is right here. I marked them front and back. Because what I did here also too to keep in mind, when you build these, make sure they're not too far back or too far forward, you know. So I just went with edge of the head, and then I went forward just a little bit. That's how I marked it, you know. Anybody could build these, you know. So, man, it's so tempting. Right now I could tack this all together, but I think I need to move this in towards the block a little bit. But I know they're in where they're supposed to be, so let's just tack that anyway. Yeah. Where can I get ground here? I wonder if I can hold it like that, maybe. Yeah. Let's flip it over. Do the other side right away. Getting a little hot to hold. We can make it. Oh, I burned through. Got the welder a little high right now. Okay, good. Ooh, man, I wonder why that's hot, guys. Could you answer me? Let me know in the comments why it's hot. Oh, jeez. Hopefully I didn't bend nothing. Okay. So now we're ready to... Okay, we got that. See, it went through right there on that one. But, let's see. It went through on a couple, I guess. That's fine. I got to turn the welder down. So I got it all tacked. There's that other one. 1, 2, 3 spots I burned through. I can fill them in. So now what we'll do is I think... Oh, she's hot. No, I can't touch nothing. I think I want to... What I want to do, my goal is to keep the edge of the pipe here, this cross pipe, the flue or whatever you want to call it. I want to keep it close to this edge right here. If I could draw an imaginary line down in the edge of the head. So I know it's kind of tucked underneath the motor, but yet, you know, because what's nice about these gaskets here, and I don't know if they'll work, but they're factory gaskets. They got this heat deflector shield on there, okay? So it's going to help deflect the heat off them away from the motor and up, you know. So we'll see how that works yet. I haven't dealt with that yet, but so I guess the next step is to figure out, okay, how much are we going to cut off? Well, if I could just grab this thing now, it's nice and hot. Well, it's cooling off really fast, but it's still warm. I could throw it out in the snowbank, I guess. But let's don't do that. Let's figure this out. So if I would take I dummy this on here. I wonder if I should tip it down, maybe put angles in them. The other side, I put angles in them like this, so I tipped it down a little bit. Maybe I should do the same thing here, huh? At first, I was thinking I'd just go cut them straight off, but maybe the other side, I tipped it and I put angles at the end. So, and what I do is I look at the gap here, you know, and that's how much I need to take off. Okay, we got to get them in place. Okay, something. There we go. There, it's in place. So let's go drastic, huh? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to double that on this edge. And then, so I got to cut an angle from this, and then it's got to come right to this point from here. So I tell you what, I'm going to go a little bit more though, I think. The other side I had to do it twice. I'm going to think ahead. So now I'll measure from here to there on each pipe, and I'll make that same mark, so we're consistent, but my tape measure is over there, and I'm over here. So I'm not going to film that, I don't think, because I can just go do it quick, and I can get back to this. So let's just, we'll make those marks, and then I'm gonna mount this thing in the vise standing up, and I'll take the saw them all off. Okay? Okay, now I'll be right back, guys. All right, so there they are. There it is. So I'd say that's pretty dang close. So let's tack that on quick onto there. Got a small gap there. Oh, here, let's do this one. Oh. Okay. Ouch. These are junk heads, by the way. So if I hit anything, block is my 6'4" Hemi block. I wonder if I can get some of these back ones here. It's good to have everything good and tight, but the problem is I used a little bigger hole saw on the flanges, and I am so regretful that I did that. Because now I got a little bigger hole there that I gotta fill, And the problem is you have to take your sweet time because you don't want to warp that flange now that I made. You know what I mean? So the gasket seals. And if you would warp it though, there is a possible way you can slice the flanges between every pipe right in the middle. So the flange is forgiving if you tighten up the bolts. Then you might be able to get rid of exhaust leak if you make these and you have a problem with them. But these do give off a lot of heat. So what you got to do is you should wrap them if it's in an enclosed area, like underneath the hood. They're no worse than exhaust manifold, but but they do give off a lot of heat, you know. And you could weld things on here, so you could stick a big potato in here and wrap it up, and you could be making food down the highway to your next car cruise. You could put your pork chops over here, and on the other side you could have your potatoes, you know, or hamburgers or something. But no, in reality, some people do that, and it's like, wow, yeah, it's not a bad idea, you know. It's different. I'll say that. So what I want to do is I want to good and tack them, you know. So, but we got to take our time so we don't warp the thing here. And yeah, she's looking pretty good. I got a couple holes I got to fill. I got to turn the welder down a little bit. It's a little too high. This is 1/4" steel. I'm welding to exhaust tubing, and you can make this out of pipe, you know, too. So it's nice and thick, you know. But I'm just making them out of exhaust tubing, you know, and but yeah, if you go with a thicker pipe, that would probably actually be better. But the thicker pipe does crack, you know, so you got to watch out for that too, you know. But don't make that mistake like I did. I went with bigger holes on the flanges, and I am very much so regretting that right now. Wish I didn't do that, but hey, you know, I mean, I don't know. Here's what it is, I guess. These tight joints tack up so nice. There's no gap, you know. But every tack you put in it, the stronger she gets, you know, and it'll help it from warping. But you can still warp the edges if you know, do too much, and you don't let it cool down a little bit, you know. So I like to move around. Oh, there I went through. That only took 2 seconds, if that even. I got the welder up too high. I should, before I go any further. Well, let's just keep tacking, I guess. Well, yeah. So now we got to make a tube. I have to figure out where the starter is, so it's got to be in front of the starter here, you know. The starter is going to be like right here somewhere. So it's got to be in front of that, but behind the motor mount. So I'll take some measurements off the motor. You know, it's in the bay right now. So, and then I kept it as close as I could here. You know, from this point. You know, these points here, straight down. It could went when I measured in the thing. It can go past that a little bit, and I think it's just barely going past it. So that'll work. That should work perfect. What else? I guess that's it for now. I guess. Oh, I hate it when I burn through though. Man, dang it. You know, dang it, dang it, dang it. I said, dang me, dang me. Let's see once if we can tack this one. Tack it right on there. There we go. Finally. A little more strength again. Every tack we can do, the better off we are. What is going on there? Well, There we go, finally. Man, I hope I can get the welder in there to weld that all up. Okay. So, we got stuff to make yet here. I'm done with tacks, so I think we should put a few more in there yet. There we go. Let's see where I can get all tacks in right now. The many tacks I can get on there, the better off I am, but there we go. Another one. Okay. Good enough for now. So what are we going to do next? Let's see. We're going to take a measurement where that pipe's got to be. If it's got to be angled in a little bit, out and forward or backward. That's what we're going to do next. So while I take that measurement, and then we'll have to drill a hole. Then I got a 2-inch. God, I should have just made that 2-inch coming off of there. I do have that. I could do that too. I got these adapters that go from 2-inch down, or 2-inch to 2 1/4. But now I'm starting to wonder. See, they were gonna go through here somewhere. And I got a 2-inch hole saw for it I bought. I'm starting to wonder about things. Starting to think about changing my plans. I gotta look around and see what I got here. So I'll be right back and I'll explain what I'm gonna do. Okay, so I went to the car and I did some measurements. And now the number 5 here, this is number 5 cylinder, it's the second from the back. We're gonna go half a hole and forward. Okay, so that's where the pipe's going to drop down. Okay, so let's just, we can mark that by freehand. Okay. Okay. So that's the starting of the pipe. Okay. Yeah. So then that's the starting of the pipe. There's half a hole. We got room for the star, and we can take the star out without pulling the exhaust down. Okay. So then the next step is, now what about how far in? This way. You see what I'm saying? Well, the oil pan goes straight down here, you know. This is probably a little off camera here. Oil pan goes straight down. So then I measured 16 inches, you know. So from the top of the pipe to that, to the top of the port. So then I thought, well, if it does that, because later on, what I'll be doing, what the goal is this 90-degree here I bought, you know. Actually, it goes like this. It's gonna come down. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna tip this in a little bit like this, you know. Put it half a hole. Tip it in. We can extend this pipe down too if we wanna. We can always work with that. I want to get it close. And I'm imagining where the oil pan is, straight down from this, you know. So, and then enough angle. And I'm measuring in the middle of this pipe. Okay, so that's where our pipe's got to be. Now we got to take it off, flip this thing upside down, make some marks. So let's put this thing on pause for a second, guys, while I do that. Okay. Okay, so there's that. I'm gonna flip this over. Okay. Now on this side, you can see when I flipped it over, you can see my marks. So what we're gonna do is an extruding process. They leave these marks in this pipe. Okay. You can see this? Is it way over here? Okay. So I see here now there's a consistency. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go draw this line right through here. That's my angle line now. And then I'm going to draw a line right down the center of this. Okay. So this is the angle my drill is going to go in. And then my hole saw is going to go in there. So, and it looks like, and I got to keep in mind, here's a bolt hole and here's the pipe. I got to have room to get that bolt in. So if the pipe edge is right here and here, if the pipe edge is right here, and then the bolt is right here, So, and I was going to go half a pipe, number 5. Yeah. That's going to be a tough one to get in, but it won't be that hard really because I can get it from the top and I can get it from the bottom. That's no problem. It's not like impossible at all, you know. It's just, so now, since extrusion line, these are consistent, the lines are angle. So I drew a line through there. And then in the center, here's the edges of the pipe was. So then I put that mark in the middle. So my drill guide 1/4 inch drill bit will go through there. And I'll keep my drill the same angle as these lines. Okay? That way my pipe here, when it goes down, it's at the right angle. It's not way out here. It's not way in here. It's going to be right at the right angle. Okay? So I suppose I'm just going to go drill this out, this hole. I'm not going to film that. I'm just going to mount it in the deal and drill away. Just drill one hole, and then I'll be right back, and then we'll dummy this thing together again. We'll put her back on with a couple bolts, and we'll see what we got. So, and maybe we can start tacking something together. All right, so there it is. Just putting the bolts in it now. Then I'm going to call this video the end, because now I got to do the same thing to the other side. And then on the next video, we'll, well, what I'm going to do without videoing now is I'm going to weld. If I can get this bolt started here somewhere. I'm not going to video me welding this up. I'm going to take the whole saw cutter, cut through a piece of steel, and make end caps for this, you know, on each end. I wish I had some bullet ones. That would look so cool, actually. But fence post caps would be nice, but I think they're aluminum, I think, so. I'm sure somewhere in the world somebody's got something, but I don't have it, so. But, so I'm going to spin all my bolts in. I was going to show you the 90-degree. Let's see if I can get, I'm going to get all the bolts in first here. Those two. I got one here to do yet, don't I? Okay. Wish I could put the gasket on there right away, but I can't because I'll crush it and then it ain't going to work. So. Let's get these fingers tight, I guess, for now. Lot of welding on here. It's going to take a long time because I can't just go nuts and weld on it, otherwise I'll warp the whole thing. So it's kind of, it's not a good day outside. We've got a big storm coming, but for snow. Okay, see you later, wrench. Okay, you're way over there and I'm way over here. Okay, forget it, man. I guess I can't do that, so. Okay. So now what's going to happen, let's see now. Which way am I going to run this? I can run this 2 ways. And actually it should be ran that way. But I was hoping I could tightly slip this on there. Oh, I forgot to take that sticker off. Well, let's just say it's reversed. So now this pipe will go down, you know. I wish I had 2 exhaust flanges. I'd weld the exhaust flange on here and weld one on this pipe, and I bolt it together with a gasket, you know. but I'm going to probably end up clamping it. God, no, I shouldn't do that either. Dang it, dang it, dang it. The other one, I used a header collector that time when I built that one. I welded a header collector on the bottom of this, and then I wonder if I got any header collectors left. I don't know if I do. Probably not the right size, you know, because I could weld that on here, you know. I don't know if you can see anything there. Yeah, you probably can't. And I'm zoomed in. But yeah, you can kind of get a picture on what's going on here, you know. So, but yeah, I guess we're going to call this video an end, and I'll take a video of the finished product. Because like I say, I'm not going to video me welding this all up and oh, I almost cut my finger wide open. And welding caps on the end of this, on each end. Doesn't pay to, you know. But I'll definitely show you the end product. And then later on, we'll wrap this up with header wrap, you know. First, I'll paint it with some very high intensity paint and stuff like that. So, and it looks like it's going to work. So, it looks like I'm right on target anyway. I still wonder about, I should have welded, I should have just left this piece off and welded a header collector in here. Maybe that's what I should have did, huh? I screwed up. But see, that's how you learn. That's how you learn, right there. Hey, I could have did this. Next time you build something, oh, I should have did that. I could now. So, but yeah, it's yeah, shoot. I wonder if I got header collectors. See, I made it so this would slide on here, but the burr on this piece has to be cleaned off. Then it's going to slide on there nice and tight. But the more I think about it, that should be a header collector there again. So I can unbolt the exhaust. Because I got to cut the exhaust off if I ever got to work on something. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Right now, I'm kind of lost at the moment. Because I don't know if I got header collectors. Unless I just leave it like that for now. Maybe I should just leave it alone. Just leave it like this. And then when it's in the car, I can figure it out. Anyway. My flexible oil dipstick tube. Well, that's going to melt good. That's got to go in this hole. Was supposed to go up through here. It's going to have to come out here or something. So I think that might be plastic lined on the inside, and if that gets warm. Oh well. I'll figure that out. Maybe I'll just make one. Bend it and everything. I don't know. I'm always running into troubles. I try to pre-plan for everything, so I try to make it right. And usually it goes right. I just, you gotta have a few problems. You gotta run into that. It makes you learn. Sometimes you learn the lessons the hard way, sometimes it's the easy way. So let's call this video it. You can kind of see what's going on here. Let's take you for a quick tour here so you can see what we did. So now there's our, it's kind of weird, don't it? And then the 90-degree exhaust will come off of it. Be cool to chrome them. No, that'd be a waste of time. Yeah, you can see them, but barely. Yeah. So, and then on the other side, let's see. Now on this side, I got a light. Look at that light blindness. Does that even have to be on? Where's the switch for it here? So I got to make that down pipe here for this side, and this side's caught up to the other side. And then it looks like all I got to do is start welding stuff on them. They're made. So I'm gonna get this done here, this down tube here, put that on there. Then I'm gonna I guess just start welding them up. Why should I film that? And I'll make the end caps, and take a hole saw cutter to a piece of metal, and then take those circles out of there and weld them onto there. So anyway, it's kind of cool from the back. Now if it was going in a street rod, well, then you could mount the exhaust right off the back of those tubes, put 90s going down or 45s, all kinds of possibilities here, all the time. But anyway, it looks like we're at 1 hour for the video. Yep, so please like and subscribe, guys, if you can. I sure would appreciate it. I'm trying to keep the channel alive. Right now I'm in financial, with the tariffs, buying parts for that car and the channel costs and all that stuff to keep it going. I'm in the hole. So if you like what you see, please subscribe if you can, okay? I sure would appreciate it. But I need subscribers. So take care. Bye-bye. Love to all.